We are joined by the head coach of Oregon Softball, Melyssa Lombardi, after yet another 3-0 win, a 3-0 weekend. The winning streak continues. And Coach, I wanted to just first ask about the stadium and the atmosphere. There were a few more fans in the stadium, of course, in a safe and distanced way, but I think it added a little bit more energy to these games. And was that something that your players potentially fed off of this weekend?
Absolutely. We have been waiting for our fans and our supporters and families and friends to be able to get in the stadium, and just hearing them kind of like the buzz around the stadium. It was cool before the game, and then with our athletes getting announced and hearing them applaud our athletes, and then getting into the game and just the reactions of hits that we got and things that we were doing well. We love being able to play in front of our fans at the Jane. So we were very thankful to have them there this past weekend.
All right. It took me one question to get to her, but McKenna Clee-Thermos, a no-hitter, the 34th in program history, just the fourth Duck to ever toss 15 strikeouts in a no-hitter. Let me just start with this. What made McKenna unhittable against LMU this weekend, and what was so special about that performance?
Here's the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. She's done it. A 15 strikeout no-hitter for McKenna Clee-Thermos.
I think really just her movement. She's got really, really good movement. And I think she just over the course of the game was figuring out exactly where she wanted to start the beginning of her pitch and where she wanted the end of her pitch to finish. I loved how she threw her changeup as well. I thought she just really attacked the hitters and allowed her ball to move through the zone.
Was there any what was the atmosphere like in the dugout during a no-hitter like that? Because I know at the Jane there were a couple times where the team flirted with a no-hitter and then lost it in the fifth inning. It's kind of as if your team has practice at acting in the dugout when there's a no-hitter going on. So what was that atmosphere like for McKenna?
Nothing really unusual. I think we're very businesslike in the dugout. Like, we've got really good energy, and whether we have a no-hitter going or not, I feel like they're the same. Obviously, I think everybody knows the golden rule, just to not talk about it or to talk about a perfect game or anything like that. So I think everybody just understands that part of it, but business as usual. So
it was good to see Jordan Dale back in the circle this weekend. Jordan went 4 innings of scoreless softball. And I think, there were like 3 or 4 check swings, hesitant swings from LMU where they would just roll over to second, chop it over to shortstop, but really passive swings. How do you think Jordan did changing speeds this weekend and utilizing some of her off-speed pitches?
I think that's what makes her, is her ability to change speeds and put hitters in between rhythms. I think when she's able to put hitters in between rhythms, I think that's when she's really, really effective. So it was nice to see a rollover ground ball because I'm early, or they end up getting under a ball and they pop it up. So I think the combination of her movement and her ability to change speeds is what gave them a hard time.
One of the things that we talked about briefly on the broadcast was just the transformation in Jordan Dale's game since her freshman year at Virginia Tech, where she struck out a whole lot of hitters, but she also gave up quite a few free passes. And I think it's really clear that she's worked on her mechanics and is just getting ahead of hitters far more frequently. Take me behind the scenes on that. How much work has Jordan Dale done improving her control and her command in the circle?
I would tell you she's worked really hard on that. And I think to be able to pitch at this level, you've got to be able to do that. You've got to have control over what you're doing and really understand how to work ahead in the count and mix speeds with the hitters. And I think from her first year to this year, she has a really good understanding of that. She does a great job of reading hitters and knowing what they're hunting or what they're going to be on time for, what they're going to be late for, even pitches that they'd be early on. So I think you could see that her being able to pound the zone. I think that's the feel like kind of a broken record, but we've been saying this all year for our entire pitching staff. It's so important that they understand how to pound the zone and work ahead against hitters.
The ace of Loyola Marymount's staff, I think, is a really good pitcher, and she's bound to have a really good season in WCC play. Marina Vitalich. Didn't see her in the first game, but then she went in the second two, and there was a period there where she was getting a lot of outs. She was shaving corners. What do you think about her game, and what are you going to take from the experience facing her going forward in the season?
I think she's a great pitcher. I mean, she gave us a hard time in that second game, and excuse me, she gave us a hard time. So it was nice to get to see her again the next day and see with our adjustments that we wanted to make how we would do. So she does a good job of moving the ball up and down and also change speed. So when she's at her best, she puts hitters in between rhythms as well. And I felt like she did that to us a little bit more the first day, but then the second day we did a better job with our game plan and knowing what we wanted to do with her.
Yeah, I think that's been one of the bright spots of the season offensively. During the days where you don't come out and attack early, the second and third times through the order, when you're seeing a pitcher twice in a weekend or even just the second time that day, I think there are a lot of adjustments made. How do you go about those adjustments in game when, especially you have so much going on? What do those adjustments look like in the dugout?
Yeah, well, one thing I'll tell you is Justin Schultz, our hitting coach, does a really good job of preparing our hitters before every weekend. We obviously go in with a plan A, but then sometimes you have to go to a plan B in the game, maybe even a plan C. I mean, that's just a part of it. But I think they understand that going into the game, that if we have to make some adjustments, whether it's a box adjustment or maybe looking for a different pitch versus what we were going into the game prior looking for, or a different speed. I think it's being able to make those types of adjustments in the game that are huge for us. And I think they've done a good job of that.
Another thing that we talk about on the broadcast, people like us, we try to, at times nitpick, see, certain areas where a player can improve. That's harder to do for Alyssa Brito with how she's burst onto the scene. But one thing that we had mentioned was when pitchers pound her inside, she has the ability to turn on a ball and has even hit home runs foul. She's early on pitches. She's hooking it left of the pole, and then she'll straighten it out when you go back into her later in that bat. We have said that going away to her may be a way to get her out. But then this weekend, she went to the opposite field. And I think her plate coverage as a freshman is really impressive. And now she's at a point where she's learning to take what the pitcher is giving her, even if it's on the outside part of the plate, and still, put a really good, powerful swing on it. Can you talk a little bit about Alyssa Brito's plate coverage as a freshman?
Because it cleared the netting in left field. 2-2, hits one high and deep to right. This one's got a chance. See you later. Alyssa Brito's hit her 9th home run of the season. Goes down, digs it out, and gives Oregon a 4-0 lead.
I would agree with you. I think early in the season, her coverage was more to the inside and would struggle a little bit more middle away. But as she's gone into the season and has had the opportunity to face a lot of different types of pitchers, she's learned that she needs to be able to cover the whole thing. And if she has a pitcher that's just pitching her away, that she's got to go to the plate looking away. So I think just for her growth at the plate and the others, you just, your strategies, you just get better with your strategies. She's put in a lot of extra work. She swings a lot, puts a lot of time into her swing, and I think she'll continue to get better with her strategy at the plate as the year goes on.
Haley Cruz had a 14-game hitting streak entering this weekend that was ended in an 0-for-1 effort where she took 2 walks. By all account, that's still a productive day at the plate. That's a good day at the plate. I want to ask you, as somebody who used to swing the bat at a very high level at Oklahoma, is it worse to break a hitting streak going 0-for-4 or 0 for 1 with 2 walks where you're still getting on base for your team?
I mean, I think the most important thing she would tell you is that she just cares that we win. But I think, the hitting streaks, it's cool. And I think the fans really get into it. And I mean, obviously, I'm sure she's pretty aware of it. But I think at the end of the day, the thing that she cares about most is that we get the W. But as far as which one's worse, I don't know. I think she probably, if she's getting on base, whether it's through a walk or a hit or an error, she'll take it because she gets on base. She gets us the opportunity to score.
She gave the team a big opportunity to win in a big crooked number inning in the final game of the series. Didn't score any runs except for, I believe it was in the 4th inning. And it was Haley Cruz that ignited that 2-out rally with a triple to the opposite field. Is she somebody that can kind of just get the offense going based on one swing, one energy play like that where she took the extra bag at third?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, that's why we have her in the leadoff. Last year we were excited to have her in the leadoff because she had high average. She was constantly on. She was hitting gaps. But this year you're seeing that same thing, but now you're starting to see a little bit more power go with it. So she could lead off an inning with a home run or lead off the inning with a triple, or a bunt for a hit. But I think she gives us a lot of really good energy by being able to lead off the inning. I also think our team has really been excellent at scoring runs with 2 outs. We've scored a lot of runs this year with 2 outs. So it's just a tribute to this team and just that never say die. And as long as we have outs, we have opportunity.
I'll leave you with one more question. Entering another Pac-12 series this weekend, the homestand ends in a way, though it's only like a 45-minute drive up to Corvallis. 4 against the Beavers, a team that you've seen already once this season. What's the scouting report on the Beavs? What do they do well?
They do a lot of things well, but they just got a ton of power at the plate, and they hit and they hit and they hit. They've got great pitching. Their defense is solid. It's going to be a tough matchup. We've got to go in ready to get after it and start fast right from the beginning and stay fast through the very end. So they're just explosive. I mean, they could be down a couple runs and it doesn't matter. They know how to put runs on the board.
Thanks so much for your time, Coach Lombardi. Good luck in the 4-game set coming up this weekend.
All right. Thanks, Jordan.